Hello students, in this today's class we all are going to see the topic organic chemistry, and as we all know that organic chemistry is a very important topic for your boards, and I'm going to keep this topic very simple so that you can master this topic. Okay, so before we go into the topic, so I would request all of you that please watch till the end so that you will be able to understand each and every simple things which are there in this chapter. Okay, so the first thing in this chapter is the hydrocarbon. So what is hydrocarbon? So the word itself says that there is two terms in this. One is hydro and other is carbon. Okay, so we can say that the compounds which are formed by these two elements are called hydrocarbons. Okay, so the compounds which are formed by hydrogen and carbon are called hydrocarbons. Like if I take CH4, okay, this is a hydrocarbon. Okay, and we know this name actually. We are familiar with the name. We have gone through this name a certain number of times in the junior classes. So after this, we can see that the types of hydrocarbons. So hydrocarbons are of two types. One is saturated and other is unsaturated. So what is this saturated and unsaturated? So saturated means if the hydrocarbon is formed by single bond linkage. Okay, if there is single bond in the compound, then we say that it is a saturated hydrocarbon, and if it is a double or triple bond, then we say it is unsaturated. Okay, so saturated compounds are called here as alkanes. Okay, these A and E comes for single bond. Okay, and then unsaturated has two types, that is, one is the alkene and then alkyne. So this alkene is for double bond and this alkyne is for triple bond. Okay, so next we are going to see why the carbon is so important for us. What is special in this carbon? So carbon has two special properties than the any other compound in periodic table. So carbon is tetravalent. Carbon is tetravalent. Means what? Valency 4. Okay, which means what? Valency 4. As we all know that carbon has atomic number 6. So when we do electronic configuration, we see that this is 2 and the next shell contains 4. So that means the valency is what? 4. So this is why carbon is special. And the other property is called catenation. So what is this catenation? Catenation means what? The formation of long chain. Formation of long chain. So carbon does this very well. Okay, even hydrogen also does this. We say hydrogen bonding, but in this chapter we are focusing on carbon bonding. Okay, so that is catenation, means the formation of long chain. I'm sorry, this is chain. Okay, so next, so we have few numbering for the number of carbons. Like if I have one carbon, we give a name for this. We give meth in organic chemistry. Okay, when we have two carbon, we give eth. Okay, so two carbons, we give the name eth, and when we have three carbon, we give the name pro, and we have four carbons, we give but, and we have 5 carbons, then we call it pent. Okay, so if we have one carbon and all the hands, that is 4 single bonds, contain hydrogen, then this is called meth. Meth as because there is one carbon, And if all the bonds are single bond, then we have a saturated compound with us, and we name it as ane, right? So we have this name now, that is methane. Okay. So one more important thing, that this alkane has a formula like CnH2n plus 2. Then we have alkene. So this has CnH2n. And then next is alkyne, that is CnH2n minus 2. So now what we have formed? We have formed a alkane actually, isn't it? All the bonds are single bond, that is alkane. And alkene, that is double bond, and alkyne is what? Triple bond. So let us see whether we can form the first means first alkene and first alkane with one carbon or not. So this is our question. So I'll take this formula CnH2n, and if I take here n equal to 1, what we get? We have C1 and H2 into 1, that is CH2. So we'll try to structure this. We are try to make a structure, and let us see whether we can able to do this or not. So we have one carbon, and as we all know that carbon should have four bonds, either double, triple or single, but all together it should have four bonds. But if I do like this, if I put four bonds, but we have only two hydrogen to balance this. Okay, so in this way we can see that two hands are free. There is no one who can be managing these two bonds. That means this compound cannot be formed. Okay, so methane doesn't exist. Methane doesn't exist. Okay, doesn't exist. So similarly, if you notice that the last one, that is alkyne, there also we cannot form methyl. Okay. So why? Because the bonds are actually vacant. There is no one who can balance those bonds. So first we will complete all the alkane things. Then we'll go to alkene and alkyne. So if I have two carbons and if I place the bonds, see, the carbon is now, this carbon is having four single bonds, this carbon is also having four single bonds. If I place hydrogen at all the bonds, end of the bonds, so you see that we get C2 and H6. Okay, and when C2 means what? That is two carbons, so we call it eth, and all are single bonds, so we can say that ethane. Okay, so if I have next one, that is three carbons, and if I place the bonds and if I give all hydrogen in all the hands, then we can name this. So we can name this as propane. Okay, so in this way, if we have four carbons, so we can name this as, I hope you can name this, that is butane. Okay, we can name this as butane. So because four carbons, we can call it but, and ane, as because all the bonds are what? Single bond. So we'll see next, that is if we have three carbons straight and we have one carbon like this hanging position, so we name this something else. We cannot name uh, only butane. See how many carbons? 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. So we cannot say this as normal butane, means butane. Only butane we cannot say. So we cannot say this. So what is the name of this then? So you see how many carbons are in straight chain. 1, 2, 3. This is a straight chain. So this is a straight chain. We have three carbons, so we call it pro. Okay, and uh, and this is the guest now. So we call it as methyl propane. Or you can name this as the new name which in the form of butane, that is isobutane. So whenever there is a hanging position, you can even call it as isobutane, or you can make this as guest. The extra element which is not there in long chain, we can make it as guest, and the rest will see the straight chain. That is three carbons in the straight line. We call it prop. So it becomes propane, methyl propane. Okay.